I was reading about this 105-year-old marathon runner, and get this, they swear by a plant-based diet and daily meditation. I mean, it really got me thinking, what are the habits that really make a difference? The ones backed by actual science? And speaking of, our listeners sent in a script just loaded with longevity hacks that we're going to dive into today.
That's right. We're talking about adding life to your years, not just, years to your life. It's a good distinction. And your script, it's really a great jumping off point. What I'm excited about is connecting those tips to the bigger picture, like all the latest in longevity research.
Okay, so let's unpack this thing. The script, it puts a lot of emphasis on nutrition, specifically plant-based diets, which, okay, not surprising, but what is it about this way of eating that makes it so, I don't know, powerful for longevity, I mean?
Isn't it fascinating? I mean, this isn't some fad diet, right? There's serious science behind it. Just think about the Mediterranean diet for a second. All those fruits and vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats. It's more about what's in those foods, though. They're packed with these specific antioxidants, like lycopene. Have you heard of that one? It's found in tomatoes, and there's been research linking it to reducing inflammation. And then there's fiber. Can't forget about fiber. So crucial for your gut health.
Right, everyone's talking about the gut microbiome these days, so it's not just what we eat, but how it affects, our inner ecosystem.
Exactly. Which actually brings us to another cool point your script brought up, portion control. Scientists, they call this caloric restriction. Basically, it's about reducing your calorie intake without, starving yourself to see if it actually impacts how long we live.
Hold on, back up a sec. Calorie restriction, actually makes you live longer. Tell me more.
It's still being studied, especially in humans, We got to be careful about that. But the findings so far are pretty mind-blowing. In some organisms, like they've done studies on worms and mice, caloric restriction has significantly extended their lifespans. Seems like it impacts certain cellular processes, the ones that actually govern aging, like stuff involving telomeres, for example.
Telomeres, help me out here.
Okay, so picture, the little plastic tips on your shoelaces. They're there to prevent fraying, right? Telomeres, they're kind of like protective caps, but for our DNA. And basically, shorter telomeres, they're linked to aging. And some research is suggesting that caloric restriction, it might help keep those telomeres nice and long. Again, early days, more research needed, especially in humans, but it is fascinating stuff.
Wow, okay, so it's not just what we eat, it's how much. This is already making me rethink my lunch plans. Portion control, definitely something I could, work on a little. Speaking of things that take effort, the next part of the script, it's all about staying active. Recommends something like 150 minutes of moderate exercise every week. Honestly, finding the time for that,
Yeah.
not always easy.
Yeah, I hear that. It can feel kind of overwhelming when you think about it, like this big chunk of time. But the interesting thing is it doesn't all have to be like structured exercise.
Yeah.
Like your script mentions brisk walking, cycling, swimming, all fantastic options. But then there's NEAT.
Neat. Like, my desk is neat. What's that stand for?
So it stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's a mouthful, I know. But basically, it's all those little movements we do throughout the day, all those little things that add up, burn a few extra calories without even realizing it.
Oh, right. I actually tried to be more mindful of that last week, parking further away from stores, taking the stairs more often, even just fidgeting more at my desk. And you know what? I felt surprisingly more energized.
See? It works. It's really about those small changes, those conscious choices to move a little bit more. And those can make a big difference. Although your script also brings up strength training, which is so important, especially as we age.
For sure. It's definitely one of those things I know I should be doing more of, especially as I get older.
Makes sense. It's natural. As we get older, we start losing muscle mass, right?
Mm.
But strength training can really help fight against that decline. And the benefits, they go way beyond just, looking good, which is great too. But we're talking stronger bones, a more efficient metabolism, even things like balance and coordination improve. And all of that, what's it really about? Helping you stay independent, mobile as you age, which is so essential for overall well-being and health.
It's not about just living longer then. It's about living better in those later years. Which, now that I think about it, the script also really emphasized stress management and social connections, which I feel like those aren't always things people connect to longevity?
It's huge, though. Honestly, chronic stress can really do a number on our bodies. It's scary.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You're stressed. Your body releases cortisol, right? The stress hormone.
For
Over time, having those elevated cortisol levels constantly, it increases your risk for all kinds of things, heart disease, even depression.
cortisol. That's like the, oh no, I have to give this presentation and I totally forgot my notes. Hormone, isn't it? No wonder it's bad for you long term.
Exactly. And that's where those social connections come in. Having those close relationships, it's like having this buffer, this protection against life stresses.
Yeah.
Life throws stuff at you. It's unavoidable. But those connections make it manageable.
Makes sense. How do you cultivate stronger social connections, though? Asking for a friend.
Well, it's different for everyone, right?
Okay.
But it's about really being intentional. Prioritize quality time with your loved ones. Put effort into the relationships you have. Even putting yourself out there to find new connections, maybe through hobbies, shared interests, community involvement, all sorts of things.
It's wild, right? How interconnected everything is. Stress, our social lives, physical health even, it all plays a part, in how we age. And speaking of things that can help us unwind and recharge, the script, it also gets into sleep, which,
And it's not just about like clocking in enough hours. It's the quality of sleep that matters. Your script, it recommends aiming for that sweet spot. 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep every night. Seems simple enough, right?
yeah.
But honestly, I think a lot of us were guilty of not making sleep enough of a priority.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me about it. I know I should be getting more sleep, but it always seems to be the first thing to go when things get hectic. But how do you even know if you're getting quality sleep? Besides, waking up feeling like you got hit by a truck.
That's a good question. One thing to look out for is if you're relying on that alarm clock every morning, like you really want to be waking up naturally around the same time each day and actually feeling somewhat refreshed. Other signs. Feeling super sleepy throughout the day is a big one. Trouble concentrating, mood swings, those can be connected too.
So it's not just about how you feel in the morning. It's about that energy level throughout the whole day, huh? Any tips for, actually improving sleep quality? Besides the obvious, don't chug coffee before bed, of course.
Well, consistency is key. Our bodies, they really thrive on routine, even when it comes to sleep. Try to stick to a consistent sleep schedule as much as possible. Yeah, even on the weekends. Tough, but important. Maybe create a little bedtime routine, like a warm bath, reading a book, whatever helps you wind down. And make sure your bedroom is a sleep-conducive zone. Cool, dark, quiet.
Like a sleep sanctuary.
A
I
little
love
bit
that.
there.
Okay, now, before we wrap things up, the script leaves us with one last nugget of wisdom for a longer, healthier life. Regular health checkups.
Can't forget about those. It's easy to let them slip, but it's so important. And it's not just about going to the doctor when you're already feeling sick. This is about taking charge, being proactive. Build that relationship with your doctor so you can catch those potential issues early on.
It's about that mindset shift, isn't it? Being proactive, not just reactive. Your health. It's not just a series of emergencies, it's a lifelong journey, right?
Exactly. And that's a great way to think about it.
This deep dive has been incredible. We've covered so much ground. Plant-based diets, those all-important social connections, getting that quality sleep, being proactive with our health. It's honestly amazing when you think about it, how much control we actually have over our own longevity.
It really is.
Yeah.
Just remember this. You don't need to make all the changes at once. Start small, pick one area, just one thing that speaks to you, and start there. Gradual, sustainable change, that's the key.
Such good advice. And as you go about your day, here's something to think about. If you could only choose one thing, just one, from everything we talked about today, to really focus on, what would have the biggest positive impact on your life right now, and why? Something to ponder. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.